Last season, the Brooklyn Nets went 35-37, putting them at 8th in the Eastern Conference. They were eliminated in the first round. Their top performers were Spencer Dinwiddie, Cassius Levert, and Joe Harris, and their more interesting player is Jarrett Allen. Obviously, we're forgetting names like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving because they simply didn't play or didn't play enough last year. Spencer Dinwiddie last year put up 20.5 points per game, 7 assists on 41.5% from the field, and 31% from 3 on 6.3 attempts per game. If Spencer Dinwiddie were full-time in a backup role, he would be the league's best backup point guard. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And he would be my pick for 6th man of the year. And he's also talented enough to be a good starting guard next to Kyrie Irving. Spencer Dinwiddie is mainly a slashing guard. He just really likes to get to the rim. 31% of his field goals came at the 0 to 3 feet range, which is incredibly high for a point guard, and he converts at that range on a good clip, around 63.7% from that range. He's never really been a consistently good outside shooter, so that's kind of why he relies on his ability to get to the rim. And he's a really good playmaker, getting 7 assists per game. He's a solid but not elite defender, so that raises a lot of questions about what his role will be with the Nets going forward. Is he going to be the 6th man behind Kyrie Irving, or is he going to start next to him, and will the Nets run a 2-point guard lineup with the two in the game together? Last year, Cassius Levert put up about 19 points per game, 4 rebounds, 4.5 assists on 42.5% from the field, and about 36.5% from 3 on 5 attempts per game. Cassius Levert is a good playmaking wing, better than I thought. I didn't think he was averaging upwards of 4 assists per game. He's generally improved as a 3-point shooter throughout his first couple of years in the league, and he's a very solid finisher. His efficiency wasn't the greatest as a first or second option last year, but it wasn't horrible, and it should definitely improve playing off of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and Dinwiddie this upcoming season. Similar to Spencer Dinwiddie, a lot of speculation surrounds what Cassius Levert's role will be this upcoming season. New head coach Steve Nash talked about using him in the Manu Ginobili type of role, so where he's a good enough player to start, but he would be more valuable if he were to be held in the second unit. But given his talent, he would probably be put into the game's closing lineup. And is this an indication from Steve Nash that Spencer Dinwiddie will be starting? And also, what would a closing lineup be? Would it feature Dinwiddie and Levert with the two-headed monster of Kyrie Irving and KD, and then you take your pick between your centers of Jarrett Allen and DeAndre Jordan? Or would they want Joe Harris in there and you take out either Cassius Levert or Spencer Dinwiddie? Regardless, the Brooklyn Nets have a lot of options to what they can do with their starting lineup and with their closing lineup. Last year, Joe Harris put up 14.5 points per game on 48.6% from the field and 42.5% from 3 on 6 attempts per game. Joe Harris was one of the league's best shooters last year. 51.8% of his field goal attempts came from the 3-point line, so he knows his role and he excels in it. But Joe Harris isn't only a 3-point shooter, he has some ball handling ability given that he averaged 2.1 assists per game, and he also could get to the rim. 29% of his field goal attempts came from 0 to 3 feet, and he converted at a 65.2% clip. Jarrett Allen put up 11 points per game, about 9.5 rebounds per game on 65% from the field, and he also got 1.3 blocks in 26.5 minutes per game. Jarrett Allen is an athletic rim protecting center who likes to rim run. He mainly gets his points off of dunker spot catches and offensive rebound putbacks. Last year, he was 10th in the league in offensive rebound percentage. Again, Jarrett Allen is another player on this Nets team who knows his role and excels in it. Something interesting about Jarrett Allen is that he's going into his contract year. This is the last year of his rookie deal. So will Jarrett Allen kind of be hungry to put up more offensive production and kind of extend his value and extend what he can do on the offensive end to really get that bag in the 2021 offseason? We'll see. And then another question arises of who starts at center. I think a lot of the NBA world realizes the potential that Jarrett Allen has, and we see that Jarrett Allen is ascending while DeAndre Jordan is on the steady decline. But DeAndre Jordan is the center that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving really wanted to play with before they signed in Brooklyn. So it's going to have to be a give and take between what the head coach wants, what Kyrie and Kevin Durant want, and what management wants. I guess you could say the Nets had a relatively quiet offseason. They didn't make a draft pick because they traded their pick, I believe. And speaking of trades, they traded for Landry Shamet and I think that really just involved their pick. I don't think they traded away anything else. Landry Shamet is somebody who's going to be a sniper for the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, they already had Joe Harris, but now you have Landry Shamet who can be a sniper off the bench. And they signed Jeff Green on a 1-year minimum contract. I don't know why Jeff Green's just been hopping around teams on 1-year minimum contracts. He's still pretty valuable at his old age. I think he's in his mid-30s, but he's still got most of his athleticism. He can stretch the floor pretty well. He can slash pretty well, and that's a lot of value you're getting for a 1-year minimum contract. So definitely a good signing for Brooklyn. Looking at their depth chart, they have Kyrie Irving, Spencer Dinwiddie, Cassius Levert, and Landry Shamet at their guard positions. At the forward positions, they have KD, Joe Harris, TLC, not gonna say his name, Taurean Prince, and Jeff Green. And at the center positions, they have the two-headed monster in Jared Allen and DeAndre Jordan. And coaching them is newcomer Steve Nash. Projecting the starting lineup was kind of impossible because it can go literally like 4 or 5 different ways. You can have Dinwiddie in there and not Levert. You can have Levert in there and not Dinwiddie. You can have them both in there and not Joe Harris. You could have DeAndre Jordan in there and not Jared Allen, and vice versa. But here's the projected starting lineup on my end. I think they're going to start Irving with Dinwiddie at the 2. I think they're going to have Joe Harris in at small forward starting games to have that sniper, that consistent sniper just running around screens all day. I think they're going to start Kevin Durant at the 4 because Steve Nash, I think he mentioned this a lot, he's going to have Kevin Durant playing basically 4 different positions throughout the game. So I think we're going to see him at power forward a lot. And I think they're going to go with Jared Allen at center. I think Steve Nash is going to wise up and realize what he has in Jared Allen while he's ascending and while DeAndre is descending. And personally, I am very high on this Brooklyn Nets team, even though they're like plopping in 2 superstars, and that might kind of take a while for them to get used to, but I don't think it's really going to be hard for them to really gel together. I think it's going to work, and I think they're going to win plus 50 wins. I think they're going to go 52-20. I think they're going to get the 2nd seed, but I do think they'll get eliminated in the Eastern Conference Finals to obviously another team in the East that I'll mention later, but mainly because of chemistry reasons, and I think this team will finally break their ceiling. Obviously, this Nets team is contending. Like, they have one of the best dynamic duos in the entire league, and they have a great supporting cast around them. So they're definitely contending, and I can very easily see them making it to the NBA Finals and winning it. When KD and Kyrie originally joined the Nets, everyone was expecting it to just be them carrying the load and stealing the show. In my opinion, their supporting cast is being slept on. Joe Harris is a top 5 3-point shooter. DJ and Jared Allen is a great two-headed monster at center, similar to the Lakers' JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard last year. Dinwiddie has perennially been a 6th Man of the Year candidate, and Cassius Levert has emerged as a good shot creator and playmaker. The Brooklyn Nets have a deep roster, and being led by the superstar duo of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving positions them as one of the best contenders in the NBA.